Jasmine Carter sat in the wooden gallery, her arms aching from the weight of 2 car seats. Inside each one, a tiny miracle, Caleb on the left, Chloe on the right. Both 3 months old. Both sound asleep, unaware that their mother's entire world was about to shatter or be rebuilt in this very room. She hadn't slept more than 2 hours straight in weeks. Her natural hair was pulled into a simple bun, strands escaping around her temples. Her dress was clean but wrinkled from where she'd been holding the babies against her chest all morning. She smelled like formula and exhaustion. Across the aisle, Devon sat with his lawyer, a man in an expensive suit who looked like he'd never missed a meal or a night's sleep in his life. Devon wouldn't meet her eyes. He used to look at her like she was the sunrise. Now he looked at her like she was a problem to be solved. And beside him in the front row sat Simone. Simone Hayes. The woman who had decided Jasmine's husband was hers to take. She wore a cream-colored dress that probably cost more than Jasmine's monthly rent. Her hair fell in perfect waves. Her lips were painted a shade of red that seemed designed to announce her presence. She was smiling. Jasmine's chest tightened. She wanted to scream. She wanted to stand up and demand to know what kind of person smiled in a courtroom where a mother was fighting for her children's future. But she didn't. She couldn't. She had learned over the past 6 months that dignity was sometimes the only weapon you had left. All rise for the Honorable Judge Lorraine Whitman. The room stood. Jasmine struggled to her feet, her body protesting. She'd had a C-section. The scar still pulled when she moved too quickly. She steadied herself on the bench in front of her and rose, her eyes fixed on the judge entering the room. Judge Whitman was a black woman in her late 50s with silver locks swept into an elegant updo. Her robes were crisp, her expression unreadable. She sat, adjusted her glasses, and surveyed the room with a kind of gaze that missed nothing. "Be seated." Everyone sat. Chloe stirred, making a small sound. Jasmine reached down instinctively, rocking the car seat with one hand. The baby settled. "We are here today," Judge Whitman began, her voice clear and measured, "for the matter of Carter versus Carter. Divorce proceedings and custody arrangements." She glanced at the file in front of her, then looked up. "I see we have infant children involved." "Yes, Your Honor." Patricia Green, Jasmine's attorney, stood. She was a black woman in her 40s with a reputation for being relentless. Jasmine had scraped together everything she had to afford her. Twin infants, 3 months old. "My client, Mrs. Jasmine Carter, is their primary caregiver and has been since birth." Devon's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, my client, Mr. Devon Carter, is seeking joint custody and wishes to be an active participant in his children's lives." Judge Whitman nodded. "I see. And Mrs. Carter, I understand you've brought the children with you today?" Jasmine stood, her legs shaking. "Yes, Your Honor. I didn't have anyone to watch them. My aunt usually helps, but she's been sick and I couldn't afford." "It's all right, Mrs. Carter," Judge Whitman said gently. "You may sit." Jasmine sank back down, her heart pounding. She hated how small her voice sounded. She hated that she had to explain herself for being a mother who couldn't afford backup childcare. Devon's lawyer cleared his throat. "Your Honor, if I may, this is indicative of Mrs. Carter's lack of resources. My client is prepared to provide financial support, a stable home environment." "A stable home environment?" Patricia cut in, her voice sharp. "Your client abandoned his wife and newborn twins to move in with his mistress." A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Simone's smile faltered for the first time. "Counselor," Judge Whitman said, her tone a warning. "Let's keep this professional." "My apologies, Your Honor," Patricia said smoothly. "But the facts are the facts. Mr. Carter left his family at their most vulnerable time. Mrs. Carter has been solely responsible for 2 infants while recovering from a difficult childbirth. She has managed their care, their feeding schedules, their medical appointments, all without support from the defendant." Devon's lawyer opened his mouth to respond, but Judge Whitman raised a hand. "I'll hear testimony shortly. But first, I want to address something." She looked directly at Simone. "Ma'am, are you Miss Simone Hayes?" Simone stood, smoothing her dress. "Yes, Your Honor." "And what is your relationship to Mr. Carter?" Simone's smile returned, confident now. "I'm his partner. His girlfriend." The word felt like a slap. Jasmine's hands curled into fists. Judge Whitman's expression didn't change. "I see. And you're here today because?" "Because I support Devon," Simone said. "And I think it's important for the court to know that he has a stable relationship now. A future." Jasmine bit the inside of her cheek so hard she tasted blood. Judge Whitman removed her glasses and set them on the bench. Miss Hayes, this is a custody hearing. Unless you are a party to this case, your presence in the front row is highly irregular. You may observe from the gallery, but I will not have you sitting beside the defendant as if this is a social occasion. Simone's face flushed. Your Honor, I just. Gallery seating Miss Hayes. Now. For a moment, Simone didn't move. Then, with a sharp inhale, she grabbed her purse and walked to the back of the room, her heels clicking loudly against the floor. She sat down with a huff, arms crossed. Jasmine felt a tiny flicker of something she hadn't felt in months, satisfaction. Judge Whitman put her glasses back on. Now, let's proceed. Mr. Carter, you may take the stand. Devon stood, his jaw tight. He walked to the witness stand, was sworn in, and sat down. He looked uncomfortable. Good, Jasmine thought. He should be. Mr. Carter, Patricia began, standing and walking slowly toward him. You left your wife and children 3 months ago. Is that correct? I left because the marriage was over, Devon said, his voice defensive. That wasn't my question. Did you leave your wife and newborn twins 3 months ago? Yes. And where did you go? Devon hesitated. I moved in with Simone. Miss Hayes, the woman who was just removed from sitting beside you. Objection, Devon's lawyer said. Relevance. Sustained, Judge Whitman said. Counselor, get to the point. Patricia nodded. Mr. Carter, have you provided any financial support to your children since you left? Silence. Mr. Carter? I sent money a few times, Devon said quietly. How much? I don't know exactly. Your Honor, I have bank records, Patricia said, holding up a folder. In 3 months, Mr. Carter has sent a total of $200. For 2 infants. That's less than $70 per month per child. Judge Whitman's expression hardened. She looked at Devon. Is that accurate? Devon looked down. I've been trying to get back on my feet. You own a car, don't you? Patricia asked. Yes. A 2023 model? Yes. And you've taken Ms. Hayes on 2 vacations in the past 3 months, correct? Miami and Las Vegas? Simone stood up in the back. That's not fair. Ms. Hayes, sit down, Judge Whitman snapped. One more outburst and you will be removed from this courtroom entirely. Simone sat, her face red. Jasmine's hands trembled. She hadn't known about the vacations. She'd been at home alone nursing 2 babies while Devon was. Caleb started to cry. Then Chloe. Both babies wailing in unison, their tiny voices filling the courtroom. Jasmine bent down, unbuckling Caleb and lifting him to her shoulder. She tried to soothe him, bouncing gently, but he wouldn't stop. Chloe's cries grew louder. Mrs. Carter, Judge Whitman said, her voice softer now. Take your time. Jasmine's eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. Not here. Not now. She reached for Chloe, trying to hold both babies at once, but her arms were shaking. And then, from across the aisle, she saw Devon stand. Let me help, he said. Sit down, Mr. Carter, Patricia said sharply. But Devon was already walking toward her. He reached for Chloe. Jasmine pulled back instinctively. Don't, she whispered. They're my kids too, Devon said. They're my responsibility, Jasmine shot back, her voice breaking. Where were you when they had colic? Where were you when I couldn't figure out why Caleb wouldn't latch? Where were you, Devon? The courtroom went silent except for the baby's cries. Devon's face crumpled. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't feed them, Jasmine said, tears streaming down her face now. Sorry doesn't pay the bills. Sorry doesn't keep me awake at night wondering if I'm doing this right. Judge Whitman stood. We're taking a recess. Mrs. Carter, there's a private room behind the courtroom. You may use it to tend to your children. We'll reconvene in 30 minutes. Jasmine nodded, unable to speak. She gathered the babies in the car seats, stumbling toward the side door. Patricia helped her carry everything into a small, quiet room. The door closed behind them and Jasmine collapsed into a chair, both babies still crying in her arms. She didn't know how much more she could take. But she knew one thing. She wasn't giving up. The private room smelled like stale coffee and old paper. A single window let in a sliver of gray afternoon light. Jasmine sat in a worn armchair, her body curving protectively around both babies. Caleb had finally stopped crying, his small fist wrapped around her finger. Chloe was still fussing, her face scrunched up and red. Shoo, baby girl, Jasmine whispered, shifting Chloe to her other arm. Mama's got you. Mama's got you. Patricia stood by the door, giving her space but staying close. She'd seen plenty of clients break down over the years, but something about Jasmine's quiet devastation hit different. This woman had been holding everything together with nothing but will and love, and now even that was being questioned in a courtroom. "You did good in there," Patricia said gently. Jasmine let out a bitter laugh. "I cried in front of the judge. I couldn't even keep my babies quiet." "You're human." And Judge Whitman saw exactly what she needed to see, a mother who's been carrying the whole world on her shoulders while that man played house with his mistress. Chloe's cries softened to whimpers. Jasmine rocked her slowly, muscle memory taking over. She'd done this 1,000 times in the middle of the night when no one was watching, when she was so tired she could barely stand, when she'd wondered if she'd ever feel whole again. "I didn't know about the trips," Jasmine said quietly. "Miami, Las Vegas. While I was using coupons at the grocery store." Patricia's jaw tightened. "I know. And the judge knows now too. Will it matter?" "It will matter," Patricia said firmly. "Judge Whitman is one of the fairest judges in this circuit, but she doesn't tolerate fathers who abandon their responsibilities. You just need to hold on a little longer." Jasmine looked down at her babies. Caleb's eyes were closed now, his breathing soft and even. Chloe was watching her with those big dark eyes that looked so much like her own. These children were her reason for everything. Her reason to wake up. Her reason to keep fighting. "I'm scared," Jasmine admitted. "What if he gets them? What if the court thinks he can give them more because he has money?" "Money isn't everything," Patricia said. "Stability is. Love is. And you've got both of those in spades." A soft knock on the door made them both turn. A bailiff poked his head in. "5 minutes, counselor." Patricia nodded. "We'll be right there." The door closed. Patricia walked over and crouched down beside Jasmine's chair. "Listen to me. When we go back in there, I need you to stay strong. Not for Devon. Not for that judge. For them." She gestured to the twins. "You've already proven you're their mother in every way that counts. Now we just need to make sure the court sees it too." Jasmine nodded, swallowing hard. She carefully placed Caleb back in his car seat, then did the same with Chloe. Her hands were steadier now. She wiped her face, smoothed down her dress and stood up. "Okay," she said. "Let's finish this." When they returned to the courtroom, the energy had shifted. Simone was still in the back, but now she was whispering urgently into her phone, her face twisted with irritation. Devon sat at his table, staring at his hands. He looked smaller somehow, less sure of himself. Judge Whitman was already on the bench, reviewing documents. When Jasmine took her seat, the judge glanced up and gave her a small nod, a silent acknowledgement that Jasmine interpreted as respect. It gave her a sliver of courage. "We'll continue," Judge Whitman said. "Mrs. Carter, I'd like to hear from you now. Please take the stand." Jasmine's heart jumped. She hadn't expected to testify so soon. Patricia gave her an encouraging nod. Jasmine stood, walked to the witness stand and was sworn in. Her voice shook when she said, "I do." She sat down, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Patricia approached. "Mrs. Carter, can you tell the court about the last 6 months of your life?" Jasmine took a breath. "It's been the hardest time I've ever experienced. I found out I was pregnant with twins the same month I found out Devon was cheating on me. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to leave, but I was scared. I didn't have anywhere to go. My Aunt Ruby, she's my only family, she lives in a 1-bedroom apartment and she's on a fixed income. I couldn't ask her to take care of me and 2 babies. So you stayed," Patricia said. "I stayed. I thought maybe Devon would change his mind. That he'd choose us. But he didn't. He moved out a week after the twins were born." "How did you manage?" "I worked from home as long as I could. I do data entry and transcription. But after the babies came, I couldn't keep up with the workload. I lost most of my clients. I've been living off savings and whatever Devon sent, which wasn't much." "Have you asked him for more?" "Yes, multiple times. He said he'd help, but he never followed through. I stopped asking because I didn't want to beg." Patricia walked slowly in front of the bench. "And during this time, were you aware that Mr. Carter was taking vacations with Ms. Hayes?" "No. Not until you told me today." "How does that make you feel?" Devon's lawyer stood. "Objection. Relevance to custody." Judge Whitman looked thoughtful. "Overruled. I'll allow it." Jasmine's voice was quiet but firm. "It makes me feel like I never mattered to him. Like our children never mattered. He had money for trips and a new life, but not for diapers. Not for formula. Not for the medical bills from my C-section that I'm still paying off." The courtroom was silent. "Mrs. Carter," Judge Whitman said gently, "what are you asking for in this hearing?" Jasmine turned to face the judge directly. "I want full custody. I want child support that actually reflects what it costs to raise 2 babies. And I want Devon to prove he's serious about being a father before he gets unsupervised time with them. Because right now I don't trust him. And I can't risk my children being let down the way I was. Judge Whitman nodded slowly. Thank you, Mrs. Carter. You may step down. Jasmine returned to her seat, her legs weak. Patricia squeezed her shoulder as she sat down. Mr. Carter, Judge Whitman said, her tone sharp now. I'm going to ask you a direct question and I expect a direct answer. Why should this court grant you joint custody when you've provided virtually no support, financial or emotional, to your children? Devon stood, his face pale. Your Honor, I made mistakes. I know that. But I love my kids. I want to be in their lives. Love is an action, Mr. Carter, not just a feeling. What actions have you taken? I've been trying to get my life together so I can be there for them. By going on vacation? Devon's lawyer stood quickly. Your Honor, my client's personal life. His personal life is absolutely relevant when he's asking for custody of 2 infants he's barely supported, Judge Whitman said, her voice like steel. Sit down, counselor. The lawyer sat. Judge Whitman leaned forward. Mr. Carter, I've reviewed the financial records. You have the means to support your children. You've chosen not to. That tells me everything I need to know about your priorities. From the back of the room, Simone stood up. This is ridiculous. Every head turned. Ms. Hayes, Judge Whitman said, her voice dangerously calm. I warned you. You're punishing him because of me. Simone said, her voice rising. I'm not the reason his marriage fell apart. She probably drove him away. Jasmine felt her chest tighten. The words stung even though she knew they weren't true. Patricia stood. Your Honor. But Judge Whitman held up a hand. She looked at Simone with an expression that could freeze fire. Ms. Hayes, you have 5 seconds to sit down and be silent, or I will hold you in contempt of court. Simone's mouth opened and closed. Then she grabbed her purse and stormed toward the courtroom doors. Bailiff, Judge Whitman said calmly, make sure Ms. Hayes doesn't leave the building. I may have questions for her. The bailiff moved quickly, following Simone out. The doors swung shut behind them. The room was electric with tension. Judge Whitman turned back to Devon. Mr. Carter, I'm going to be very clear with you. Based on what I've seen today, I am inclined to grant Mrs. Carter full physical custody of your children with supervised visitation for you until you can demonstrate consistent involvement and financial support. Devon's face crumpled. Your Honor, please. However, Judge Whitman continued, I'm going to give you one opportunity to show me I'm wrong. I'm ordering an immediate investigation into both households. I want to see financial records, living conditions, and proof of Mr. Carter's ability and willingness to co-parent. We will reconvene in 2 weeks. She banged her gavel. Court is adjourned. Jasmine's hands were shaking again, but this time it wasn't from fear. It was from relief. She'd been heard. She'd been believed. Patricia leaned over. You did it. Not yet, Jasmine whispered, looking at her sleeping babies. But we're close. As people began to file out, Jasmine stayed seated, gathering her strength. She saw Devon walking toward the doors, his shoulders slumped. He glanced back at her once, and for a moment their eyes met. She didn't look away. And neither did he. 2 days after the hearing, a social worker named Mrs. Diane Fletcher knocked on Jasmine's apartment door at 9 in the morning. Jasmine had been awake since 5, not by choice, but because Caleb had decided that dawn was playtime and Chloe had needed a diaper change that somehow turned into a complete outfit change after a spectacular blowout. Jasmine opened the door, Caleb on her hip, spit up on her shoulder. Mrs. Fletcher? The woman smiled warmly. She was black, somewhere in her 50s, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses and locks pulled into a neat bun. Please call me Diane. May I come in? Of course. Jasmine stepped aside, suddenly hyper-aware of every detail of her small apartment. She'd cleaned frantically the night before, but it was still just a one-bedroom place with worn carpet and a kitchen barely big enough for one person. The twins slept in a corner of her bedroom in 2 bassinets she'd bought secondhand. Diane entered, taking in the space with a practiced but non-judgmental eye. You have a beautiful home. Jasmine almost laughed. Beautiful wasn't the word she'd use. But it was clean and it was safe and it was filled with love. That had to count for something. Would you like some coffee? Jasmine offered. It's instant, but... That sounds perfect, Diane said, settling onto the small couch. She pulled out a tablet and a folder. This isn't meant to be stressful, Jasmine. I'm just here to get a sense of how you're managing and what kind of environment the children are living in. Jasmine nodded, handing Caleb a soft toy before moving to the kitchen. Her hands shook slightly as she boiled water. Chloe was in her bassinet, awake and watching the ceiling fan with intense concentration. "How long have you lived here?" Diane asked, making notes. "Almost 2 years. Devon and I moved in right after we got married. It was supposed to be temporary, but..." She trailed off, stirring the coffee. "But life had other plans," Diane finished gently. "Yeah." Jasmine brought over 2 mugs and sat down. Caleb immediately tried to grab her coffee, so she set it on the side table out of reach. Diane smiled. "He's curious. That's a good sign. How are they developing? Any concerns?" "They're both healthy." Caleb rolled over last week for the first time. Chloe's been smiling more. "They have their 2-month checkup records. I can show you." "I'd appreciate that." Jasmine retrieved a binder from the small bookshelf. Everything organized by date. Medical records, receipts for formula and diapers, even a feeding schedule chart she'd made to track who ate when and how much. She'd learned quickly that with twins, you had to stay organized or you'd lose your mind. Diane flipped through the binder, her expression softening. "This is impressive." "I don't want to forget anything," Jasmine said quietly. "And I needed proof. For myself, I guess. That I'm doing this right." "You're doing more than right," Diane said. She made more notes then looked up. "Can you walk me through a typical day?" Jasmine did. The 5 a.m. wake-up when one or both babies started crying. The feeding rotation. Breastfeeding Chloe while Caleb got a bottle, then switching. The constant cycle of diapers, laundry, and trying to squeeze in work whenever both babies napped at the same time, which was rare. The evenings when Aunt Ruby came by if she was feeling well enough, giving Jasmine an hour to shower or cook something that wasn't microwaved. "What about support?" Diane asked. "Besides your aunt?" "There's a women's group at my church. Reverend Grant, he's been really helpful. They organized a meal train for me after the babies were born. And my neighbors downstairs, the Hendersons, they check on me sometimes. Mrs. Henderson brought me groceries last week when she saw I couldn't get out." Diane nodded approvingly. "Community support is vital. And what about Devon? Has he visited?" Jasmine's jaw tightened. "Once. 3 weeks ago. He stayed for 20 minutes, held each baby for about 5 minutes, then said he had to go. He hasn't called since." "Did he explain why he left?" "He said he couldn't do it anymore. That he felt trapped. That Simone made him feel alive again." Jasmine's voice went flat. "He told me he still cared about me, but he wasn't in love with me anymore. Like that was supposed to make it hurt less." Diane's eyes were compassionate. "I'm sorry." "I don't need sorry," Jasmine said, surprising herself with the firmness in her voice. "I need him to either step up or step aside. These babies deserve better than a part-time father who shows up when it's convenient." "Agreed," Diane said. She closed her tablet. "Jasmine, I want you to know something. What I've seen here today is a mother who's doing everything she can with limited resources. Your home is safe, clean, and full of love. Your children are cared for. You have documentation, routine, and community. Those are the things that matter." Jasmine felt tears prick her eyes. "Thank you. I'll be visiting Mr. Carter's residence tomorrow," Diane continued. "I'll submit my report to Judge Whitman by the end of the week. But between you and me, you're doing just fine." After Diane left, Jasmine sat on the floor with both babies, letting them grab at her fingers and coo. She felt lighter somehow. Validated. Her phone buzzed. A text from Patricia. "How did it go?" Jasmine typed back. "Better than I expected." "Good. Stay strong. We're almost there." The next afternoon, Diane knocked on the door of a sleek townhouse in a neighborhood where the lawns were too perfect and the cars were too expensive. This was Devon's new address, or rather, Simone's address, where Devon had been living for the past 3 months. Simone answered the door in yoga pants and a tank top, her hair in a high ponytail. "You must be the social worker." "Mrs. Fletcher," Diane said pleasantly. "Is Mr. Carter home?" "He's upstairs," Simone said, stepping aside with obvious reluctance. "Come in." The townhouse was beautiful, hardwood floors, high ceilings, modern furniture that looked like it came straight from a magazine. But it also felt cold. There were no toys, no signs of children, no indication that anyone under the age of 25 had ever set foot in the place. "Devon?" Simone called up the stairs. "She's here." Devon came down a moment later, wearing jeans and a polo shirt. He looked nervous. "Mrs. Fletcher. Thank you for coming." "Of course." Diane pulled out her tablet. "Shall we sit?" They moved to the living room. Simone sat beside Devon, her hand on his knee. Diane noted the gesture, possessive, territorial. Mr. Carter, tell me about your involvement with your children since they were born. Devon shifted uncomfortably. I've been trying to be there. It's been hard with the divorce and everything, but I want to be a good father. How often have you visited? A few times. Can you be more specific? Maybe 3 or 4 times? Diane made a note. And how long were these visits? An hour or so each time. Maybe less. Have you changed a diaper? Silence. Mr. Carter? Not yet, Devon admitted. But I'm willing to learn. Have you fed them? Bathed them? Put them to sleep? Jasmine always had it under control, Devon said defensively. I didn't want to get in the way. Diane's expression remained neutral, but her tone cooled slightly. Mr. Carter, being a parent isn't about getting in the way. It's about being present. Have you taken any parenting classes? Read any books? Prepared in any way for joint custody? I've been busy with work, Devon said. I'm a manager at a logistics company. Long hours. But you had time for vacations. Devon's face flushed. Those were planned before. Before your children were born, Diane finished. I see. Simone leaned forward. Look, this whole thing is unfair. Devon's trying. But Jasmine makes it difficult. She doesn't want him around. Diane turned to Simone. Ms. Hayes, are you planning to be involved in the children's care if Mr. Carter is granted custody? Well, yeah. We live together. I'd help. Do you have experience with infants? No, but how hard can it be? Diane didn't respond to that. She turned back to Devon. Mr. Carter, do you have a space prepared for the children in this home? Not yet. We were waiting to see what the court decided. I see. And financially, you're currently paying $200 total in child support for 2 children. Is that correct? I've been dealing with my own expenses. Such as rent, car payment, insurance, and vacations, Diane added. Mr. Carter, the court will want to see that you're prioritizing your children's needs. $200 doesn't cover formula for 1 month, let alone 2 children. Devon looked down. I know. I'll do better. Actions, not words, Diane said, echoing Judge Whitman. She stood. I'll need to see the rest of the home. She walked through the townhouse. 3 bedrooms upstairs, 1 clearly Devon and Simone's, 1 set up as an office, 1 completely empty except for storage boxes. No cribs. No changing table. No baby supplies at all. Diane took photos and notes. When she came back downstairs, Simone was whispering urgently to Devon, who looked increasingly uncomfortable. Thank you for your time, Diane said. I'll be in touch if I need anything else. As she walked to her car, she heard raised voices from inside the townhouse. She didn't look back. That evening, Diane sat in her home office typing her report. She'd done hundreds of these evaluations over the years, but this one was straightforward. Mother's residence, safe, clean, organized. Evidence of strong routine and child-focused environment. Mother demonstrates comprehensive knowledge of children's needs, medical history, and development. Strong community support network. Financial limitations present but well managed. Father's residence. No preparation for children's presence. No supplies, sleeping arrangements, or safety measures in place. Father demonstrates limited knowledge of basic infant care. Financial contributions minimal despite evident resources for personal expenditures. Recommendation: full physical custody to mother with supervised visitation for father pending demonstrated commitment and capability. She saved the document and emailed it to Judge Whitman's clerk. Then she leaned back in her chair and thought about Jasmine, about the exhaustion in that young woman's eyes, but also the fierce love. About how she'd organized every receipt and every medical record like she was building a case for her own worthiness. Some cases were hard. Some made you question everything. This one was easy. Devon couldn't sleep. He lay in Simone's king-sized bed, staring at the ceiling while she slept beside him, one arm thrown across his chest. The social worker's visit had rattled him more than he wanted to admit. How hard can it be? Simone's words kept replaying in his mind. She'd said it so casually, like caring for 2 3-month-old babies was the same as watering a plant. He'd wanted to defend Jasmine in that moment, wanted to say that it was actually incredibly hard, that he'd seen how exhausted she was those first few weeks after the twins were born, how she'd walked the floors at night while he pretended to be asleep. But he hadn't said anything. He never said anything. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from his mother. Call me. Devon slipped out of bed carefully and went downstairs. He hadn't talked to his mother since he'd moved out. She'd made her disappointment crystal clear when he told her about Simone, about leaving Jasmine and the babies. The conversation had ended with her telling him he was making the biggest mistake of his life and him hanging up. He dialed. She answered on the first ring. "It's 3 in the morning," she said. "What's wrong?" "How did you know something was wrong?" "Because you only call me when you've made a mess and don't know how to clean it up." "What happened?" Devon sank onto the couch. "The custody hearing. It's not going the way I thought it would." "You thought a judge would give you custody after you abandoned your wife and newborn babies?" His mother's voice was sharp. "Baby, I raised you better than this. I didn't abandon them. I needed space." "You needed space from your children?" Devon, listen to yourself. Those babies didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask for any of this. And Jasmine damn sure didn't ask for you to walk out on her when she needed you most. "I know, Mama." "Do you?" "Because from where I'm sitting, you're playing house with some woman who doesn't know the first thing about being a mother while the actual mother of your children is struggling to keep her head above water." Devon's throat tightened. "I'm trying to make it right." "How?" "By showing up to court with your girlfriend? By not having a single thing ready for those babies in your home?" The social worker called me, Devon. She wanted character references. You know what I told her? "What?" "I told her the truth. That you were raised to be responsible. To be a man. But that somewhere along the way you forgot what that meant." Devon felt tears prick his eyes. "I don't know how to fix this." "Yes, you do. You start by putting those children first. Not your feelings. Not your pride. Not that woman you're sleeping with. Your children. That's how you fix it." The line went quiet for a moment. "Have you even held them, baby?" his mother asked, her voice softer now. "Have you looked at them and seen yourself? Seen me? Seen your father?" "Yeah," Devon whispered. "They have my eyes." And Jasmine's smile. "Then start acting like a father to them. Before it's too late." After he hung up, Devon sat in the dark living room for a long time. Upstairs, he could hear Simone stirring, probably wondering where he'd gone. He thought about the empty third bedroom. About how Simone had said they'd turn it into a gym. About how he'd agreed without even thinking about where his kids would sleep if they stayed over. He'd been lying to himself. Pretending that leaving was about his marriage falling apart, about needing to find himself, about deserving happiness. But the truth was simpler and uglier. He'd run away because being a father was hard. And he'd let Simone make it easy to keep running. Meanwhile, 3 miles away, Jasmine was up too. Not because she couldn't sleep, but because Chloe had an ear infection and had been crying inconsolably for the past 2 hours. Jasmine had already given her the prescribed medicine, had tried every soothing technique she knew, but nothing was working. She paced the small apartment, Chloe pressed against her shoulder, humming softly. Caleb was miraculously still asleep in his bassinet. "Small mercies." "I know, baby girl," Jasmine murmured. "I know it hurts. Mama's here. Mama's got you." Her back ached. Her eyes burned. She'd been awake for nearly 20 hours. But she kept pacing, kept humming, kept holding her daughter close. This was what love looked like. Not the easy parts. Not the photo-ready moments. But the 3 a.m. crying. The worry. The showing up even when you had nothing left to give. Finally, around 4:30, Chloe's cries softened to whimpers, then to quiet breathing. She'd fallen asleep. Jasmine carefully placed her back in the bassinet and collapsed onto her bed, not even bothering to change out of her clothes. Her phone buzzed. "Aunt Ruby, you up, baby?" Jasmine smiled tiredly and typed back, "Always. You okay?" "Can't sleep. My hip's acting up." "How are my great-grandbabies?" "Chloe has an ear infection. Been a long night. Want me to come sit with them tomorrow so you can rest?" Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. "You don't have to do that. I know I don't have to. I want to. Family takes care of family. Thank you, Auntie. I love you. Love you more, baby girl. Now try to sleep." Jasmine set the phone down and closed her eyes. Tomorrow she'd have to figure out how to afford the prescription refill. Tomorrow she'd have to respond to the 3 work emails she'd missed. Tomorrow she'd have to be strong again. But right now, for just a few hours, she could rest. The next morning, Simone was in a mood. She slammed cabinet doors while making coffee and ignored Devon's attempts at conversation. Finally, he asked, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" She turned, her face flushed with anger. "Devon, this whole thing is ridiculous. The social worker looked at me like I was the villain. Like I'm the reason your marriage fell apart." "Simone. No. Let me finish. I didn't break up your marriage. You said it was already over when we met. You said you weren't happy. Was that a lie?" "It wasn't a lie," Devon said carefully. But maybe I shouldn't have moved so fast. Maybe I should have. Should have what? Stayed in a dead relationship? Pretended everything was fine? I should have been there for my kids. Simone's expression hardened. Your kids. It's always about them now. What about us? What about what we want? They're 3 months old, Simone. They need me. They have Jasmine. That's not fair to her. Why do you care what's fair to her? Simone's voice rose. She's trying to take you for everything. Child support, custody, she's going to bleed you dry. Devon stared at her. Really looked at her for the first time in a while. Saw the selfishness in her eyes, the way she talked about his children like they were inconveniences. How had he not seen this before? They're my kids, he said quietly. Not a financial burden. Not an inconvenience. My kids. Oh, so now you're father of the year? Simone snapped. Where was this energy 3 months ago? I was wrong 3 months ago. I'm trying to do better now. By choosing them over me? It's not about choosing. They're my children. They come first. Simone grabbed her purse. You know what? I need space. Call me when you figure out what you actually want. She left, the front door slamming behind her. Devon sat at the kitchen table, his coffee going cold. The townhouse felt too big suddenly. Too empty. He pulled out his phone and opened his photo app. Scrolled back to the day the twins were born. There was one photo, just one, that Jasmine had sent him from the hospital. Both babies wrapped in blankets, their tiny faces scrunched up, Jasmine exhausted but smiling in the background. He'd been in the waiting room when they were born. Too scared to go in. Too overwhelmed by the reality of it all. He'd missed it. He'd missed everything. And now he was about to lose them for good unless he did something to prove he deserved to be their father. He sent a text to Jasmine, "Can I come by today? I want to see them." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally, 2 p.m. Don't be late. Devon arrived at 1:58 p.m. He'd stopped at a store on the way and bought diapers, wipes and 2 packages of formula. It wasn't much, but it was something. He stood outside Jasmine's apartment door, the bags in his hands feeling heavier than they should, and knocked. Jasmine opened the door. She looked tired, more tired than he'd ever seen her. Her hair was in a messy bun, she wore sweatpants and an old Howard University t-shirt he recognized from when they first started dating, and there were dark circles under her eyes. But she was still beautiful. He'd forgotten that somehow. "You're early," she said. "I didn't want to be late." She stepped aside to let him in. The apartment smelled like baby powder and something cooking on the stove, probably the chicken soup he remembered she used to make when she was stressed. It always made the place feel like home. The twins were in their play gym on the floor, Caleb batting at a dangling toy while Chloe watched with serious eyes. Devon set the bags down and just stared at them. They'd gotten bigger. It had only been 3 weeks since he'd seen them, but they looked different. More alert. More like actual people instead of fragile little bundles. "How's Chloe's ear?" he asked. Jasmine looked surprised that he knew. "Better. The antibiotics are helping." "How did you?" "I called your aunt yesterday. Asked how you all were doing." Jasmine folded her arms. "You could have called me. I wasn't sure you'd answer." She didn't deny it. "You can sit with them. Just wash your hands first." Devon went to the kitchen sink and scrubbed his hands thoroughly. When he came back, Jasmine had moved to the small couch, watching him carefully. He lowered himself to the floor next to the play gym, suddenly nervous. Caleb noticed him first, his little head turning. He made a sound, something between a coo and a squawk, and waved his arms. "Hey buddy," Devon said softly. "It's me. It's your dad." He reached out slowly and picked Caleb up, supporting his head the way he'd seen Jasmine do. The baby was warm and solid in his arms, heavier than he remembered. Caleb stared at him with those dark eyes, Devon's eyes, and for a moment, everything else fell away. "He looks like you," Jasmine said quietly. "Everyone says so." "He has your nose though," Devon replied. "And your stubbornness. He hates being put down." "How would you know that?" Devon looked up at her. "Because I paid attention. Maybe not enough. Maybe not when it mattered. But I did pay attention." Jasmine's expression softened slightly, but she didn't respond. Devon turned his attention to Chloe, who was still on the play gym, watching him with what he could only describe as skepticism. "Can I hold her too? She's been fussy today because of her ear. Be gentle." "I will." He carefully shifted Caleb to one arm and picked up Chloe with the other. It was awkward at first. 2 babies felt like trying to hold water, but then muscle memory kicked in from somewhere. Maybe from those first few days in the hospital when he'd held them both while Jasmine recovered. Back when he'd still believed he could do this. Chloe squirmed but didn't cry. She studied his face like she was trying to decide if she recognized him. Devon felt his throat tighten. "I'm sorry," he said, and he wasn't sure if he was talking to the babies or to Jasmine or to all of them. "I'm so sorry I wasn't here." "Sorry doesn't pay bills, Devon." Jasmine's voice was steady, but there was pain underneath. "Sorry doesn't help when I'm up at 3 a.m. alone. Sorry doesn't make you a father." "I know. Do you?" She leaned forward, her hands clasped tightly together. "Because this isn't a game. These are our children. Our children, Devon. They didn't ask to be born into this mess. They didn't ask for their father to walk out. And they deserve better than sorry." Devon looked down at Caleb, who had grabbed his finger and was holding on tight. "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to decide what you want. If you want to be their father, really be their father, then prove it. Take parenting classes. Set up a space for them at your place. Show up. Consistently. Not when it's convenient. Not when you feel guilty. All the time. And if I do that, then we figure it out. Co-parenting. But on my terms. Because right now, I'm the one who's kept them alive. I'm the one who knows their schedules, their doctors, what makes them calm down when they're crying. You want equal say? You earn it." Devon nodded slowly. She was right. She was right about all of it. "What about Simone?" Jasmine asked, her voice careful. Devon hesitated. "I don't know. Things are complicated. Devon, I need to know she's not going to be around my children if she doesn't respect them." That woman showed up to court like it was a fashion show. She interrupted the judge. "She clearly thinks kids are some kind of accessory." She's not good with kids," Devon admitted. "But she can learn." "Can she? Or does she just not care enough to try?" Jasmine stood up and walked to the window, her back to him. "You picked her over us. Over me. And I've made peace with that. But you don't get to bring someone into their lives who's going to treat them like they're in the way." "Jasmine. No. Listen to me. I have bent over backward to survive the last 6 months. I have worked myself to exhaustion. I have cried myself to sleep more nights than I can count. I have done everything, to make sure these babies are okay. And I will not let anyone, including you, jeopardize that." The room went silent except for Chloe making small sounds. Devon looked at his children, then at Jasmine, then back at his children. He thought about Simone's words that morning. "They have Jasmine." Like that was enough. Like Jasmine was supposed to do it all alone while he got to live his life. "You're right," he said finally. "About everything. I've been selfish. I've been a coward. And I've let you carry all of this alone." Jasmine turned around, her arms crossed. "So what are you going to do about it?" "I'm going to set up the 3rd bedroom this week. Cribs, changing table, everything they need. I'm going to sign up for parenting classes. And I'm going to start paying real child support, not the bare minimum but what they actually need." "And Simone?" Devon swallowed hard. "I need to have a serious conversation with her. About what being in their lives actually means. And if she can't handle it." He trailed off. "Then you need to make a choice," Jasmine finished. "Because they come first, Devon. They have to." "I know." Jasmine walked over and sat on the floor across from him. For the first time since he'd walked in, she looked less guarded. "I don't hate you," she said softly. "I want you to know that. I'm angry. I'm hurt. But I don't hate you. And I don't want to keep our kids from their father. But I need to know you're serious. That this isn't just guilt talking." "It's not," Devon said. "I promise you it's not." They sat there for a while, both of them on the floor with the twins between them. Caleb started fussing and Jasmine took him, immediately shifting into that practiced rhythm of bouncing and soothing. Devon watched her, seeing clearly for the first time what he'd taken for granted. This woman had become a mother, fully, completely, while he'd been playing house with someone else. "Can I come back?" he asked. "Not to stay. Just to visit. To learn. To be here." Jasmine studied him for a long moment. 3 times a week. 2 hours each time. You show up when you say you will or the deal's off. And you bring proof you're following through on everything else. The room setup, the classes, the support payments. All of it. Deal. And Devon? Don't make me regret giving you this chance. I won't. When Devon left an hour later, he sat in his car for a few minutes before starting it. His phone buzzed. A text from Simone. "Where are you?" He stared at the message, then typed, "We need to talk. I'll be home soon." He drove back to the townhouse with a clarity he hadn't felt in months. When he walked in, Simone was on the couch, scrolling through her phone. Finally, she said. I was starting to think you'd moved in with Jasmine. Devon sat down across from her, not beside her. Simone, this isn't working. She looked up. What isn't working? This. You don't want kids in your life. Not really. And I have 2 kids who need their father. So that's it? You're choosing them? They're my children. It's not a choice. It's a responsibility. Simone's face flushed. You're unbelievable. I supported you through all of this. You supported me leaving my family, Devon interrupted. You made it easy to run away. And I let you because it was easier than facing what I was doing. So now I'm the villain? No. But we want different things. You want a life without complications. My kids aren't complications. They're my life. Or they should be. Simone stood up, grabbing her purse. Fine. You want to play daddy? Go ahead. But don't come crying to me when you realize how hard it is. I already know how hard it is. That's the point. She left without another word. The door slammed and Devon was alone in the big empty townhouse. He pulled out his phone and called his mother. I'm going to make this right, Mama, he said when she answered. Good, she said. It's about time. The next 2 weeks were a whirlwind. Devon threw himself into preparation with an intensity that surprised even him. He hired someone to help him set up the 3rd bedroom properly, not just throwing together some furniture but actually creating a space that was safe and welcoming. 2 cribs with firm mattresses and breathable bumpers. A changing table stocked with diapers, wipes, and creams. A rocking chair by the window. Blackout curtains. A sound machine. He researched everything, watched YouTube videos, called his mother 3 times for advice. He enrolled in a parenting class at the community center, a 6-week course called Fatherhood Fundamentals. He was the only man in a class of 12, and the only one there for infants instead of toddlers, but he didn't care. He showed up every Tuesday and Thursday evening, took notes, asked questions, and practiced diapering on a doll that the instructor named Baby Sam. The other parents, all mothers, looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism at first. But by the 3rd class, when he admitted he'd walked out on his kids and was trying to make it right, their expressions softened. At least you came back, one woman said. My son's father left when he was 2. Never looked back. You're trying, another added. That's more than a lot of men do. It wasn't absolution, but it was acknowledgement. And it motivated him to try harder. He also started therapy. His mother had suggested it. You need to figure out why you ran, baby, or you'll just run again. And she was right. Dr. Carver, a black man in his 60s who wore bow ties and had a calm, steady presence, didn't let Devon off easy. You felt trapped, Dr. Carver said during their 2nd session. And instead of dealing with that feeling, you escaped. Yeah, Devon admitted. But it wasn't just feeling trapped. I don't know. Seeing Jasmine with the babies, watching her be this amazing mother and feeling like I was useless. Like I couldn't do anything right. So you left. So I left. And found someone who made you feel useful again. Desired. Important. Devon nodded slowly. Simone made me feel like I mattered. Like I was still a person, not just a father who didn't know what he was doing. But being a father is part of who you are now, Dr. Carver said. You can't separate that out. The question is whether you can integrate it. Be a father and still be yourself. I don't know if I can. You won't know until you try. Meanwhile, Jasmine was navigating her own challenges. Devon had been showing up consistently, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday afternoons, exactly when he said he would. He came with supplies, with questions, with a willingness to learn that surprised her. But trust didn't rebuild overnight. I'm scared to hope, she told Aunt Ruby one evening while the twins slept. What if he's just doing this for the court? What if he gets custody and then disappears again? Aunt Ruby, sitting in the worn armchair with a heating pad on her hip, shook her head. Baby, you can't live in the what-ifs. You can only deal with what is. And what is right now is a man who's trying. Maybe it'll last, maybe it won't. But you can't punish him forever for his mistakes, or you'll make yourself bitter. I have a right to be bitter. You do, Ruby agreed. But bitterness doesn't keep you warm at night. And it doesn't help those babies. They need their daddy. And if he's willing to show up, you gotta let him. Jasmine knew she was right, but it was hard. Every time Devon walked through the door, part of her wanted to slam it in his face. But another part, the part that was exhausted and lonely and tired of carrying everything alone, was relieved to see him. He was learning. Slowly, awkwardly, but genuinely. She taught him how to do tummy time with Caleb, who hated it and screamed like he was being tortured. She'd shown him how to burp Chloe properly, how to tell the difference between a hungry cry and a tired cry, how to change a diaper fast enough that Caleb didn't spray him. He'd learned that one the hard way. And sometimes, when he was sitting on the floor with both babies, talking to them in that soft voice he'd developed, Jasmine caught glimpses of the man she'd fallen in love with. The man who used to make her laugh. The man she'd thought would be her partner forever. But that man had left. And this man, the one sitting in her apartment trying to remember which baby liked which lullaby, was someone different. Someone she didn't quite know yet. "How's the court case going?" Patricia asked during one of their check-in calls. "The hearing's in 3 days," Jasmine said. "I'm terrified." "Don't be." Diane's report was glowing. "Devon's shown improvement, but it's only been 2 weeks. The judge will see that. You're going to get primary custody, Jasmine. I'm confident." "But what if?" "No what ifs," Patricia said firmly, echoing Aunt Ruby. "You've done everything right. You've been the consistent, present parent. You've given Devon a chance to step up, and while he's trying, it's too little too late to change the custody arrangement. The best he can hope for is increased visitation. And honestly, that's probably what's best for the kids anyway." Jasmine nodded, even though Patricia couldn't see her. Okay. I trust you." "Good. Now get some rest. You're going to need it." On Saturday, Devon's last visit before the hearing, something shifted. He arrived with a gift, a photo album he'd put together. Inside were pictures from the hospital, from the twins' first days home, even some from before they were born when Jasmine was pregnant and glowing despite everything. "I found these on my phone," he said, handing her the album. "I wanted you to have them. I know I wasn't there for a lot of it, but I was paying attention. Even when I wasn't present, I was paying attention." Jasmine flipped through the pages, tears blurring her vision. There was a photo of her sleeping in the hospital bed, both babies on her chest. One of Caleb's first smile, a gas smile but still. One of Chloe grabbing Jasmine's finger with her tiny hand. "You took all these?" she asked. "Yeah. I was going to make you an album after they were born, but then everything fell apart and I forgot. But I want you to have them now. Because even though I screwed up, those moments mattered. You mattered." Jasmine closed the album and set it aside carefully. "Thank you." They sat in silence for a moment, the twins between them on the floor. "I know I can't undo what I did," Devon said quietly. "And I know you might never forgive me. But I want you to know I'm not giving up. On them. On being their father. On proving I can do better." "I see that," Jasmine said. "And I appreciate it. But Devon, this isn't about me forgiving you. This is about you becoming the father they deserve. Whether I forgive you or not doesn't change that responsibility." "I know." "Good." Caleb started fussing, and without thinking, Devon picked him up and started the bouncing motion Jasmine had taught him. Caleb settled immediately, his head resting on Devon's shoulder. Jasmine watched them, feeling something complicated and painful in her chest. This was what she'd wanted. What she'd begged for in those early days. A partner. A co-parent. Someone to share the load. She just hadn't expected it would take losing everything to get here. That night, after Devon left, Jasmine sat down and wrote a letter she'd never send. "Dear Devon, I don't know if I'll ever stop being angry at you for leaving. For choosing her over us. For making me do this alone when I needed you most. But I also don't know if I'll ever stop loving the man you used to be. The man who held my hand when I was scared. The man who promised we'd figure it out together. That man is gone. And I have to grieve him. Even while this new version of you tries to be better. I hope you succeed. For Caleb and Chloe. For yourself. But mostly because they deserve a father who shows up. Who stays. Who chooses them every single day. I'll never give you the chance to hurt me again. But I'll give you the chance to be their dad. That's the best I can do. Jasmine." She folded the letter and tucked it into the back of her journal. Then she checked on both babies, kissed their foreheads, and finally let herself cry. Tomorrow was Sunday. The day after that was the hearing. And then she'd know what the rest of her life looked like. The morning of the hearing, Jasmine woke up before her alarm. She'd barely slept, her mind racing through every possible scenario. What if the judge believed Devon's transformation was enough? What if she lost primary custody? What? She stopped herself. No more what-ifs. The twins were still sleeping, their tiny chests rising and falling in perfect rhythm. Jasmine took a moment just to watch them, to memorize their faces in the early morning light. Whatever happened today, she'd fought for them with everything she had. That had to count for something. Aunt Ruby arrived at 7:30 to watch the babies. She moved slower than usual, her hip clearly bothering her, but she waved off Jasmine's concern. "I'm fine, baby. You focus on that courtroom. I've got my great-grandbabies." Jasmine hugged her tightly. "Thank you. For everything. That's what family does." The courtroom was already full when Jasmine arrived at 8:45. Patricia was there, looking sharp in a burgundy suit, her briefcase open on the table. Devon sat across the aisle with his lawyer, wearing a navy suit Jasmine had never seen before. He looked nervous, his leg bouncing under the table. Simone was nowhere to be seen. "She's really not here," Patricia noted, following Jasmine's gaze. "That's good for us. Shows he's taking this seriously." Jasmine nodded, but she felt strangely hollow. Part of her had expected Simone to show up, to cause one last scene. The absence felt almost anticlimactic. "All rise for the Honorable Judge Lorraine Whitman." Everyone stood. Judge Whitman entered with the same commanding presence as before, her silver locks elegant, her expression thoughtful. She settled into her seat and surveyed the room. "Be seated. We're here for the continued matter of Carter versus Carter. I've reviewed the social worker's report, as well as additional documentation submitted by both parties." She looked at Devon. "Mr. Carter, I see you've made some changes since our last hearing." Devon stood. "Yes, Your Honor. I've set up a proper space for my children. I've enrolled in parenting classes. I'm halfway through the course. I've increased my child support payments. And I've been visiting consistently, 3 times a week, learning how to care for them." "And Miss Hayes?" "The woman who was removed from this courtroom last time. We're no longer together, Your Honor. I realize that my children need to be my priority, and she wasn't supportive of that." Judge Whitman nodded slowly. "I see. And Mrs. Carter, how have these visits been from your perspective?" Jasmine stood, her voice steadier than she felt. "He's been consistent. He shows up when he says he will. He's learning. But Your Honor, it's only been 2 weeks. 2 weeks doesn't erase 6 months of absence." "Noted." Judge Whitman looked at her file. "I'm going to hear from the social worker before I make my decision. Mrs. Fletcher, please approach." Diane Fletcher came forward and was sworn in. She sat in the witness box with that same calm, professional demeanor Jasmine remembered from the home visit. "Mrs. Fletcher," Judge Whitman began, "you've evaluated both households. What are your findings?" Diane opened her tablet. "Your Honor, my evaluation showed a stark contrast between the two environments. Mrs. Carter's home, while modest, is safe, clean, and child-centered. She has established routines, maintains detailed medical records, and demonstrates comprehensive knowledge of her children's needs. She has strong community support and has managed admirably despite significant financial constraints. And Mr. Carter's home? At the time of my initial visit, there was no preparation for the children whatsoever. However, I conducted a follow-up visit this week at Mr. Carter's request. He has since set up an appropriate nursery with all necessary equipment and safety measures. The space is well prepared." Judge Whitman raised an eyebrow. But preparation of space is only one factor. Mr. Carter has limited hands-on experience with his children. He's taken steps to remedy this, which is commendable, but it's recent and untested over time. Mrs. Carter has been the primary caregiver since birth. She knows their schedules, their preferences, their medical needs intimately. That kind of knowledge and experience can't be replicated in 2 weeks. What is your recommendation? Primary physical custody to Mrs. Carter, with a structured visitation schedule for Mr. Carter that allows him to build his relationship with the children gradually. I'd recommend supervised visits initially, transitioning to unsupervised as he demonstrates consistent competence and commitment. Devon's face fell, but he didn't argue. Judge Whitman made notes. "Thank you, Mrs. Fletcher. You may step down." She turned to Patricia. "Counselor, does your client have anything to add?" Patricia stood. "Your Honor, my client simply asks that the court recognize her sacrifices and consistency. She has been mother and father to these children. While she doesn't want to deny Mr. Carter the opportunity to be involved, she needs assurance that any custody arrangement prioritizes stability and the children's best interests." "Mr. Carter's counsel?" Devon's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, my client acknowledges his past mistakes but has demonstrated genuine commitment to change. He's invested financially and emotionally in his children. He respectfully requests joint physical custody with a fair parenting schedule." Judge Whitman removed her glasses and rubbed the bridge of her nose. The courtroom was silent, everyone waiting. "Here's what troubles me," the judge said finally. "Mr. Carter, you've made impressive changes in 2 weeks. You've done what you should have done 6 months ago. And while I appreciate the effort, I can't ignore the fact that it took a custody hearing to motivate you. These children have lived their entire lives with their mother as the sole consistent caregiver. To disrupt that now, when you've just begun to figure out how to be a father, would not serve their best interests. Devon's shoulders sagged. However, Judge Whitman continued, I do believe children benefit from having both parents actively involved when possible. So here is my ruling. She put her glasses back on and looked directly at both of them. I am granting Mrs. Jasmine Carter primary physical and legal custody of the minor children, Caleb and Chloe Carter. Mr. Devon Carter will have supervised visitation 3 times per week for 2 months, after which we will reassess for unsupervised visitation. Mr. Carter will pay child support in the amount of $1,200 per month, $600 per child, backdated to the children's birth date. That's a total arrearage of $7,200, which Mr. Carter will pay in installments of $600 per month in addition to his regular support, until the debt is satisfied. Jasmine felt tears spring to her eyes. She'd won. She'd actually won. Furthermore, Judge Whitman continued, Mr. Carter will complete his parenting course and provide proof of completion. He will also attend 4 co-parenting counseling sessions with Mrs. Carter to establish a healthy communication framework. Failure to comply with any of these terms will result in further restrictions on visitation. She banged her gavel. This court is adjourned. The courtroom erupted into quiet motion, people gathering papers, lawyers conferring with clients, the bailiff calling the next case. Jasmine sat frozen in her seat, Patricia's hand on her shoulder. You did it, Patricia said softly. It's over. It's over, Jasmine repeated, and then she was crying big heaving sobs she couldn't control. All the fear, all the stress, all the months of carrying everything alone, it poured out of her in waves. Patricia handed her tissues and let her cry. Across the aisle, Devon was talking to his lawyer, his face drawn. When he finished, he walked over slowly. Jasmine, he said. She looked up, wiping her eyes. I know I don't deserve it, but thank you for giving me the chance to be in their lives. I won't waste it. Jasmine took a shaky breath. You better not. Because if you do, I won't give you another one. I know. They stood there for a moment, former spouses, new co-parents, 2 people trying to figure out how to do right by the children they'd made together. The co-parenting counseling, Devon said. I think it's a good idea. We need to figure out how to communicate better. Agreed. And Jasmine? I meant what I said in my therapy session. I was scared of being a bad father, so I ran. But I'm not running anymore. Good, Jasmine said simply. Then softer, they need you, Devon. Not your money. Not your guilt. They need you to show up and be present and love them. Can you do that? I'm going to try every single day. Jasmine nodded. It wasn't a promise of reconciliation. It wasn't forgiveness. But it was a beginning. I need to get back to them, she said, gathering her things. Can I come by tomorrow? For my visit. Tuesday. We stick to the schedule. Right. Tuesday. She walked toward the doors, Patricia beside her. Before she left, she glanced back one more time. Devon was still standing there, watching her go, and for the first time since everything fell apart, she didn't feel anger when she looked at him. She felt hope. When Jasmine got home, Aunt Ruby had both babies on the couch, one on each side of her, reading them a story from an old children's book. She looked up when Jasmine walked in. Well? Primary custody, Jasmine said, her voice breaking. I got them. They're mine. Aunt Ruby's face split into a huge smile. Of course you did, baby. Of course you did. Jasmine collapsed onto the couch and gathered both babies into her arms, breathing in their baby smell, feeling their warmth. Caleb grabbed her hair. Chloe made a little cooing sound. Mama's got you, Jasmine whispered. Mama's always got you. And finally, for the first time in 6 months, she believed it. 6 weeks after the hearing, life had settled into a new kind of normal. Devon showed up for his supervised visits like clockwork, Tuesday and Thursday evenings, Saturday afternoons. The supervisor, a kind woman named Mrs. Chen who worked for the county, sat quietly in the corner with her clipboard while Devon fed, changed, and played with the twins. At first it had been awkward having someone watch his every move, but he'd come to appreciate it. Mrs. Chen had taught him things: how to soothe Chloe when she got overtired, how to make Caleb laugh by making silly faces, how to manage both babies at once during a diaper emergency. You're getting good at this, Mrs. Chen said during a Saturday visit, watching Devon expertly change Caleb while keeping Chloe entertained with a rattle. I have a good teacher, Devon replied, nodding toward Jasmine, who was in the kitchen making bottles. It was true. Jasmine had been patient in a way he didn't deserve, showing him techniques, answering his endless questions, never making him feel stupid for not knowing something. They'd started their co-parenting counseling sessions, and while the first one had been tense, years of hurt didn't evaporate overnight. They were learning to communicate without accusations. "I need you to understand," Jasmine had said during their second session with the counselor mediating, "that every time you make a promise to them, you're making a promise to me too. When you say you'll be there and you're not, it's not just them who feels it. I do too, because I'm the one who has to pick up the pieces." "I know," Devon had responded. "And I'm sorry. I can't change the past, but I can control what I do now. And right now I'm committed." "Words are easy, Devon. Show me." So he did. He showed up early sometimes, just to help Jasmine carry groceries or fix a leaky faucet in her apartment. He brought meals from his mother, who had finally agreed to see him again after he'd proven he was serious about being a father. He paid his child support on time, every time, and even added extra when he could for things like new clothes or toys. His mother had come to one of the visits, meeting her grandchildren for the first time. She'd cried when she held them, had looked at Devon with a mixture of pride and disappointment that made his chest ache. "You still have a long way to go," she told him afterward. "But at least you're walking in the right direction now." Jasmine was discovering something surprising. Co-parenting was actually easier than she'd expected. Not emotionally easier. There were still moments when seeing Devon with the babies hurt, when she remembered what she'd hoped their family would look like. But practically easier. Having another person who knew the twins' routines, who could take them for a few hours while she caught up on work or sleep, who split the mental load of remembering doctor appointments and ordering supplies, it helped. She'd even gone out with her church group one Saturday evening while Devon watched the twins. It was the first time she'd been out without them since they were born. She'd only stayed for 2 hours, checking her phone constantly, but it had felt like a vacation. "Look at you living your life," her friend Tamara had teased over dinner. "I'm proud of you, girl." "It feels weird," Jasmine admitted. "Like I'm forgetting something." "You're not forgetting anything. You're taking care of yourself. There's a difference." That night, when Jasmine came home to find Devon on the floor with both babies asleep on his chest, she'd taken a picture. Not for him. For herself. Evidence that maybe, just maybe, things could work out. The twins were growing fast. At 4.5 months they were more interactive, smiling, laughing, reaching for toys. Caleb had discovered his toes and spent hours trying to eat them. Chloe had developed a fascination with faces and would stare intently at anyone who held her, like she was memorizing their features. "She's going to be smart," Aunt Ruby declared one afternoon. "Look at those eyes. She's studying everything." "Like her mama," Devon said without thinking. Jasmine and Ruby both looked at him in surprise. He'd been keeping his distance emotionally, focusing on the kids, not wanting to overstep. But the comment had slipped out, sincere and unguarded. "Well," Ruby said, breaking the awkward silence, "at least you're paying attention now." It wasn't forgiveness exactly, but it wasn't hostility either. It was progress. One Thursday evening during a supervised visit, Chloe spit up all over Devon's shirt, a massive amount that somehow got in his hair too. Mrs. Chin tried not to laugh while Devon stood there, dripping, looking bewildered. "Welcome to parenthood," Jasmine said, handing him a towel and a clean shirt she'd learned to keep on hand. "How do they produce this much liquid?" Devon asked, peeling off his ruined shirt. "She's tiny." "Physics-defying spit-up is a parenting milestone," Jasmine said, and for the first time in months she laughed at something involving Devon. Really laughed. He looked at her, surprised and pleased. "I've missed that sound." The moment hung between them, fragile and complicated. Then Caleb started crying and the spell broke. They both turned their attention back to the babies, but something had shifted. The wall between them had developed a crack, just a small one, but enough to let a little light through. Mrs. Chen's final report came 6 weeks into the supervised visitation period. She recommended transitioning Devon to unsupervised visits based on his consistent attendance, demonstrated competence, and the children's positive response to him. Patricia called Jasmine with the news. "The judge will likely approve it. How do you feel about that?" Jasmine sat on her couch, watching the twins in their play gym. "I feel okay. Scared but okay. He's proven himself so far. If you're not comfortable..." "No, it's fine. He deserves the chance. And honestly, having a few hours to myself without worrying about supervision logistics would be nice." "Look at you, co-parenting like a pro." "Don't jinx it," Jasmine said, but she was smiling. The judge approved the change. Devon's visits expanded. Tuesday and Thursday evenings became Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at Jasmine's place, and Saturdays became full-day visits at his townhouse. The first Saturday Devon took them alone, Jasmine nearly had a panic attack. She packed 3 bags, one with diapers and wipes, one with formula and bottles, one with backup clothes and toys. She'd written out detailed instructions, including what to do if Caleb got fussy, bouncing and the vacuum cleaner sound on her phone, and how to tell if Chloe was getting overtired, rubbing and arching her back. "I've got this," Devon said gently, taking the bags. "I promise." I know you do. But if anything happens, I'll call you immediately. Jasmine, trust me. Please." She took a deep breath. Okay. They need to eat around 11:30, and Chloe usually naps around 1, but Caleb fights it so you have to. "I know," Devon said. "We've been doing this for 6 weeks. I know their rhythms now." He was right. He did know. And that was what scared her. Letting go, sharing them, trusting someone who'd broken her trust before. But she nodded, kissed both babies goodbye, and watched Devon load them carefully into his car. As he drove away, she stood on the sidewalk until the car disappeared around the corner. Then she went inside, sat on her empty, quiet couch and cried. Not because she was sad, but because for the first time since the twins were born, she had a whole day to herself. And she didn't know what to do with it. Devon brought them back at 6 p.m., exhausted but triumphant. Both babies were clean, fed and happy. Chloe was asleep in her car seat. Caleb was wide awake, gnawing on a teething toy. "How did it go?" Jasmine asked, taking Caleb. "It was amazing," Devon said, his face lit up. "We went to the park. Well, they slept in the stroller, but still. Then we came back and I fed them and Chloe fell asleep on my chest during her bottle. And Caleb smiled at me. Like a real smile, not gas." "That's great, Devon. And I didn't mess up once." "Well, Caleb did pee on me during a diaper change, but that's not really messing up, right?" Jasmine laughed. "That's initiation. Welcome to the club." Devon looked at her, his expression soft. "Thank you for trusting me with them. I know it's not easy." "No," Jasmine agreed. "But you're earning it. One day at a time." After he left, Jasmine fed Caleb and put both babies down for the night. Then she sat in the quiet apartment and realized something. She wasn't carrying everything alone anymore. The weight was still there, but it was shared now. And maybe that was enough. 3 months after the final custody ruling, Jasmine stood in the fellowship hall of her church, surrounded by women who had carried her through the darkest months of her life. Surprise. The room erupted in cheers. Streamers hung from the ceiling in shades of purple and gold. A banner read, "Celebrating Jasmine, strength, courage, love." Tables were covered with food, mac and cheese, fried chicken, collard greens, cornbread, sweet potato pie. Everything smelled like home. Jasmine's hand flew to her mouth. "What is all this?" Reverend Grant stepped forward, his kind face creased with a smile. "This is your community celebrating you, sister. You've been through the fire and you came out stronger. We wanted to honor that." Tamara came up and hugged her tightly. "Girl, you've been so busy being strong you forgot to celebrate. So we're doing it for you." The twins were in their double stroller, dressed in matching outfits Aunt Ruby had bought, little vests and bow ties for Caleb, a frilly dress for Chloe. They were 6 months old now, sitting up on their own, babbling constantly, and utterly adored by everyone in the church. Mrs. Henderson from downstairs was there, along with the other neighbors who'd brought groceries and checked on Jasmine during those early months. Women from the mothers group Devon attended had come too, wanting to meet the woman who'd inspired their classmate to show up and do the work. Even Patricia had driven over, taking time from her busy schedule to be there. Speech, someone called out. Jasmine shook her head, laughing through tears. "I don't know what to say." "Say what's on your heart," Reverend Grant encouraged. Jasmine took a breath and looked around the room at all these faces, black women and men who had loved her, prayed for her, fed her, supported her when she had nothing left to give. "6 months ago," she began, her voice shaking, "I thought my life was over. I was alone with 2 newborn babies, no money, no help, and a husband who'd walked away. I didn't know how I was going to survive, let alone be a good mother." She paused, wiping her eyes. "But you all showed me something. You showed me that I wasn't alone. That community means showing up when someone's struggling, even when they can't ask for help. You brought me meals when I couldn't cook. You watched my baby so I could sleep. You prayed for me when I couldn't pray for myself. You reminded me that I was stronger than I thought." Her voice broke. "I couldn't have done this without you. Any of this. And I want my children to grow up knowing what real love looks like. The kind that shows up, that stays, that carries you when you can't walk. Thank you, all of you, for being my family. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Aunt Ruby made her way over slowly, using her cane, and pulled Jasmine into a fierce hug. That's my girl. That's my strong, beautiful girl. The afternoon unfolded in laughter and stories. Women shared their own struggles: divorces, single motherhood, financial hardships, health scares. Each story was different, but the thread running through all of them was the same. We survived because we had each other. Jasmine sat with Caleb on her lap, Chloe in Tamara's arms, and felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Joy. Not just happiness or relief, but deep, bone-deep joy. The kind that came from knowing you'd walked through hell and made it out the other side. The kind that came from being seen and loved exactly as you were. Devon had asked if he could come to the celebration. Jasmine had hesitated at first, but Reverend Grant had encouraged her. Let him see what community looks like, the Reverend had said. Let him see the people who held you up when he wasn't there. It might teach him something. So Devon came, arriving halfway through with a cautious expression. Some people greeted him warmly. They'd seen his transformation, appreciated his efforts. Others were cooler, their memories of his abandonment still fresh. But no one was hostile. This was a church after all. A place of grace. Devon found Jasmine near the dessert table, Chloe asleep in her arms. Thank you for letting me come, he said quietly. It felt right, Jasmine replied. You're part of their story now. For better or worse. For better, Devon said firmly. I'm going to make sure it's for better. They stood there in comfortable silence for a moment, watching Caleb being passed around to various church ladies who cooed over him. These people love you, Devon observed. Really love you. They do. They saved me. I should have been the one to save you. Jasmine looked at him. I didn't need saving, Devon. I needed support. There's a difference. And these people gave me that without asking for anything in return. That's what love looks like. Devon nodded slowly, absorbing the lesson. Mrs. Henderson walked over, eyeing Devon with a kind of frank assessment only an elder black woman could pull off. So you're the husband. Ex-husband, Devon corrected. Yes, ma'am. I've been watching you these past few months. Coming around, spending time with those babies. You doing right by them? I'm trying my best, ma'am. Trying ain't the same as doing. But at least you're here. That's more than some men can say. She turned to Jasmine. He gives you any trouble, you let me know. I got a grandson in law school. We'll handle it. Devon's eyes widened. Jasmine bit back a smile. I appreciate that, Mrs. Henderson, she said. Just looking out for you, baby. Mrs. Henderson patted Jasmine's cheek and walked away, leaving Devon looking slightly terrified. She's protective, Jasmine explained. I can see that. They all are. You hurt me, you hurt all of them. That's what it means to have community. Devon looked around the room, at the faces watching him, assessing him, giving him a chance but not forgetting what he'd done. I get it, he said. And I respect it. Later, when most people had left and the cleanup was underway, Jasmine sat in a folding chair with both babies asleep in their stroller. She was exhausted but content, surrounded by the hum of conversation and the clinking of dishes. Patricia came over and sat beside her. How are you feeling? Good. Really good. It was perfect. You deserve it. You've worked so hard. I had help. Yes, Patricia agreed. But you did the work. You showed up every day for those babies. You fought for them in court. You gave Devon a chance to be a father even when you had every right to shut him out. That takes strength. Jasmine looked down at the twins. I didn't have a choice. You always have a choice. You could have stayed bitter. You could have made co-parenting a battle. But you chose grace. That's not weakness, Jasmine. That's power. Those words settled into Jasmine's chest, warm and affirming. Reverend Grant approached with an envelope. Sister Jasmine, the church took up a collection. We know things have been tight financially and we wanted to help. Jasmine opened the envelope. Inside was a check for $1,500. I can't, this is too much. It's not nearly enough for what you've been through, Reverend Grant said gently. But it's what we could do. Use it for the babies. For yourself. For whatever you need. Jasmine couldn't speak. She just hugged him, tears soaking into his shirt. You're not alone, he reminded her. You never were. That evening, after everyone had left and Devon had taken the twins for an overnight visit at his place, the first overnight they'd attempted, Jasmine sat in her quiet apartment and counted her blessings. She had her health. She had her children. She had a community that loved her. She had a co-parent who was finally showing up. She had hope for the future. The check from the church sat on her coffee table. She knew exactly what she'd use it for. Half would go into a savings account for the twins, a little cushion for emergencies. The other half would go toward enrolling in an online certification program for data analysis. She'd been looking into it for months but hadn't been able to afford it. This would give her a chance to increase her income, to build a better future for her family. She pulled out her journal and wrote, "Today I was reminded that strength doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means knowing when to accept help. Knowing when to lean on others. Knowing that community isn't a sign of weakness, it's a source of power. I spent 6 months feeling like I had to prove I could handle everything by myself. But the truth is I couldn't. I needed these people. I needed their meals and their prayers and their presence. And there's no shame in that. I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm building a life. A good life. A life my children will be proud of. That's enough." She closed the journal and looked around her small apartment, at the toys scattered on the floor, the bottles drying on the counter, the photos of the twins on the walls. It wasn't much, but it was theirs, and it was full of love. Her phone buzzed. A text from Devon with a photo attached. Both twins in their cribs at his place, fast asleep. The caption read, "First overnight success. They're down for the night. Thank you for trusting me." Jasmine smiled and typed back, "You're doing great. See you tomorrow." She set the phone down and stretched out on the couch. Tomorrow she'd pick up the twins. Tomorrow she'd start researching that certification program. Tomorrow she'd keep building. But tonight she'd rest. Devon stood in his nursery watching his children sleep. The room was quiet except for the soft whir of the sound machine and the occasional rustle as one of the babies shifted. He'd done it. A full evening and bedtime routine on his own. Bath time had been chaotic. Caleb had splashed water everywhere while Chloe had screamed like she was being tortured. But he'd managed. He'd gotten them fed, dressed in pajamas and down to sleep. His mother had called midway through to check on him. "How's it going?" "It's hard," he'd admitted, Caleb crying in the background. "But I'm handling it." "Good. That's what fathers do. They handle it." Now, looking at his sleeping children, Devon felt something profound. This wasn't about the custody battle anymore. It wasn't about proving something to Jasmine or the court. It was about these two tiny humans who carried his DNA, who looked at him with trust in their eyes, who deserved a father who showed up. He thought about Simone sometimes, wondered where she was if she ever thought about him. But those thoughts were fleeting and carried no weight. That chapter was closed. This was his life now, late-night feedings and dirty diapers and watching his children discover the world. It was exhausting and overwhelming and the most meaningful thing he'd ever done. He pulled out his phone and opened his notes app, where he'd been keeping a journal his therapist had suggested. Month 3 of active fatherhood. I used to think being a man meant being independent, not needing help, having all the answers. But fatherhood is teaching me that real strength is admitting when you don't know something. Asking for help. Showing up even when you're scared. Today I watched Jasmine being celebrated by her community, and I realized something. I destroyed our marriage, but I couldn't destroy her. She's stronger than I ever gave her credit for. And she's giving me the chance to be a father to our children even though I don't deserve it. I won't waste that chance. Not again. My kids are going to grow up knowing their father loves them. That he chose them. That he showed up. That's my promise. To them. To Jasmine. To myself. He saved the note and quietly left the nursery, leaving the door cracked open so he could hear if they woke up. In the living room he sat on the couch and realized he was smiling. This was his life now. And for the first time in a long time, that was exactly what he wanted. 1 year later. Jasmine sat on a blanket in the park, watching Caleb and Chloe toddle around on unsteady legs. They were 14 months old now, walking, babbling in their own twin language and getting into everything. Caleb had discovered a fascination with rocks and kept trying to put them in his mouth. Chloe was more interested in the ducks by the pond, pointing and squealing with delight every time one quacked. "Da, da." Chloe shouted her word for duck. "Yes, baby duck," Jasmine said, clapping. "Can you say duck?" "Da." "Close enough." Devon jogged over from the playground, slightly out of breath. Caleb tried to eat a pine cone. I stopped him just in time. Jasmine laughed. "That boy will eat anything that's not food." "Wonder where he gets that from," Devon teased, sitting down on the blanket beside her. They developed an easy rhythm over the past year. Every Saturday they spent the morning together at the park or the children's museum or just walking around the neighborhood. It wasn't about them, it was about giving Caleb and Chloe time with both parents together, showing them that even though mommy and daddy didn't live together, they were still a team. "I got the job," Jasmine said, unable to keep the smile off her face. Devon's eyes lit up. The data analyst position? Jasmine, that's amazing. It's remote so I can work from home. And it's almost double what I was making before. She shook her head, still processing it. I finished the certification program 2 months ago, and I didn't think anyone would hire me without more experience, but you're brilliant and they saw that, Devon finished. When do you start? 3 weeks. Which means I need to figure out childcare during work hours. I can take them 2 days a week, Devon offered immediately. I talked to my boss about adjusting my schedule. He's fine with me working from home Tuesdays and Thursdays. Jasmine looked at him, touched. You do that? Of course. They're my kids. And you deserve this opportunity. You've worked so hard for it. A year ago, an offer like that would have felt loaded with guilt or obligation. Now it just felt like partnership. They'd been through 12 months of co-parenting counseling, endless conversations about schedules and boundaries, and slowly building trust brick by brick. They weren't friends exactly, the hurt was still there, probably always would be. But they were good co-parents. And for Caleb and Chloe, that was what mattered. Aunt Ruby arrived at the park with a cooler full of snacks and drinks. She moved better now. A new hip replacement 6 months ago had given her a new lease on life. She still used a cane, but the constant pain was gone. There are my babies, she called out. Caleb and Chloe squealed and toddled toward her as fast as their little legs could carry them. Ruby sat down on a bench and let them climb all over her, laughing as Caleb grabbed her glasses and Chloe tried to eat her necklace. They're getting so big, she said to Jasmine. Feels like just yesterday you were bringing them home from the hospital. I know. Sometimes I look at them and I can't believe they're the same tiny babies who used to fit in my arms. That's how it goes. They grow up fast. Too fast. Ruby looked at Devon, who was unpacking sandwiches. How's your mama doing? She's good. Retired last month. She's been talking about moving closer actually. Wants to spend more time with her grandbabies. Good, Ruby said firmly. These children need their family around them. All their family. It was a pointed comment, but not unkind. Ruby had softened toward Devon over the year, seeing his consistency, his growth. She still didn't fully trust him. Once bitten, twice shy, but she acknowledged his efforts. I'd like that, Devon said sincerely. The kids should know their grandmother. They ate lunch together, the 5 of them. 6 if you counted the twins as 2 separate people, which they definitely were despite being born minutes apart. Caleb was cautious and observant, while Chloe was bold and fearless. Already their personalities were emerging, distinct and beautiful. After lunch, while the twins napped in their double stroller, Jasmine and Devon took a walk around the pond. Ruby stayed on the bench, keeping watch. I've been thinking, Devon said as they walked, about the future. What about it? I'm going to start taking them overnight twice a week instead of just weekends. If that's okay with you. I want to be more involved in their daily routine, not just the fun stuff. Jasmine was quiet for a moment. A year ago this would have terrified her. Now it just felt right. I think that's good. They're old enough now. And honestly, having 2 evenings a week to myself would be nice. You could use the time for your new job. Or for yourself. Go out with Tamara. Take a pottery class. Whatever you want. When did you become so supportive? The question came out lighter than she intended. When I realized what I almost lost. Devon stopped walking and turned to face her. Jasmine, I know I can't undo what I did. I know I hurt you in ways that don't heal completely. But I want you to know something. What? Watching you this past year, watching you build a life, pursue your dreams, be an incredible mother, it's been humbling. You didn't need me to survive. You didn't need me to be strong. You did that all on your own. And I'm grateful you still let me be part of their lives despite that. Jasmine felt tears prick her eyes. Thank you for saying that. I mean it. And I hope someday you find someone who deserves you. Someone who sees your worth from the beginning and never lets you forget it. It was a strange moment, her ex-husband essentially giving her permission to move on. But it was also freeing. The chapter with Devon the husband was closed. But Devon the co-parent, Devon the father, that chapter was still being written. I hope you find that too, Jasmine said. Someone who wants the same things you want. Who loves those babies as much as we do. Maybe someday, Devon said. Right now, I'm just focused on being the dad they deserve. They walked back to the bench where Ruby was playing peekaboo with a newly awake Chloe. Everything okay? Ruby asked, reading Jasmine's expression. Everything's good, Auntie. Really good. That evening, after Devon had taken the twins for his weekend visit, Jasmine sat in her apartment with a cup of tea and her laptop. She was designing her home office space, a corner of her bedroom where she could work during the day. The new job started in 3 weeks and she wanted to be ready. Her phone rang. It was Tamara. "Girl, are you free tonight? A few of us are going to that new restaurant downtown." Jasmine looked around her quiet apartment. A year ago she would have said no, would have felt guilty for taking time away from the babies. But they were with their father. They were safe and loved, and she deserved a night out. "Yes," she said. "I'm free. Look at you living your best life." Jasmine laughed. "I'm trying." 2 hours later, she was sitting in a bustling restaurant with Tamara and 3 other women from church, laughing so hard her stomach hurt. They told stories, shared dreams, celebrated each other's victories. One woman had just gotten engaged. Another had opened her own business. They were all building lives, finding joy, supporting each other. "A toast," Tamara said, raising her glass. "To Jasmine. For showing us all what strength looks like." "To Jasmine," the others echoed. Jasmine raised her glass, feeling grateful and blessed and whole. Not because everything was perfect, it wasn't. Not because all her problems were solved, they weren't. But because she'd walked through fire and come out the other side. Because she'd built a life worth celebrating. Because she'd learned that asking for help wasn't weakness and that community was everything. "Thank you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "For being here. For all of it." "Always," Tamara said. "That's what sisters do." Meanwhile, across town, Devon was giving the twins a bath. Caleb was splashing enthusiastically while Chloe tried to drink the bathwater. "No, no, baby girl," Devon said, gently redirecting her. "That's not for drinking." Chloe looked at him with big, innocent eyes, then immediately tried again. Devon laughed. This was his life now. Bath time battles and bedtime stories and waking up at 6 a.m. to 2 toddlers jumping on his bed. It was chaos and exhaustion and the best thing that had ever happened to him. His mother had visited last week, spending 3 days with him and the twins. She'd watched him parent with a critical but approving eye. "You've grown up," she'd said on her last day. "Finally. Better late than never?" "Better late than never," she'd agreed. Now, as he dried off 2 squirming toddlers and wrestled them into pajamas, Devon thought about the man he'd been a year ago. Scared. Selfish. Running from responsibility. That man felt like a stranger now. He'd been in therapy for over a year, working through his fears about fatherhood, his pattern of running when things got hard, his need for validation that had led him to Simone. Dr. Carver had helped him understand that becoming a father had triggered his own childhood wounds. His own father had been absent, and Devon had been terrified of repeating that pattern. So instead of fighting against it, he'd run straight into it. "But you came back," Dr. Carver had said during their last session. "That's what matters. You came back and you did the work." Devon had cried in that session, finally grieving the father he'd been and accepting the father he was becoming. Now, as he read Goodnight Moon to both twins, Caleb in his lap, Chloe snuggled against his side, Devon felt something he'd never expected to feel. "Goodnight room. Goodnight moon. Goodnight cow jumping over the moon," he read softly. "Moo," Caleb shouted. "Yes, buddy, moo." Devon kissed the top of his head. By the time he finished the book, both twins were drowsy. He carried them to their cribs, tucked them in, and stood watching them for a moment. "I love you both so much," he whispered. "I'm never going to leave you. I promise." It was a promise he intended to keep. Every single day. For the rest of his life. 3 months later, Jasmine stood in front of her laptop on a Friday afternoon, finishing up her work for the week. The new job had been everything she'd hoped for, challenging, engaging, and flexible. She'd been able to work from home, be present for the twins, and still have time for herself. She'd even started dating. Nothing serious yet, just coffee with a man from her church named Leonard who was kind and patient and genuinely interested in getting to know her. He knew about her situation, knew about the twins and Devon, and he wasn't scared off. That alone felt like a miracle. Her phone buzzed. A text from Devon. "Parents meeting at daycare next Tuesday at 6. Can you make it?" Jasmine smiled. They'd enrolled Caleb and Chloe in a part-time daycare program to help with socialization. Devon was just as involved in the logistics as she was. Attending meetings, coordinating pickups, making sure they were both informed about every aspect of the twins' lives. She typed back, "I'll be there." Another text. "Great." Also, Caleb said, "Dada, today." Clear as day. Jasmine's heart swelled. "That's amazing." Chloe said, "Mama, at my place yesterday. They're getting so smart. They really are." She set her phone down and looked around her apartment. It was still small, still modest, but it felt different now. lighter, fuller, like home. There was a knock at the door. Aunt Ruby coming by for her weekly visit. "Hey, Auntie," Jasmine said, hugging her. "Hey, baby. Where are my grandbabies?" "With Devon. He's got them until tomorrow." "Good. That means I get you all to myself." Ruby settled onto the couch with a satisfied sigh. "Tell me everything. How's the job? How's that nice young man you've been seeing?" Jasmine laughed and sat beside her, curling up against her aunt's side like she used to as a child. "Everything's good, Auntie. Really, really good." "You sound surprised." "I am. A year and a half ago I thought my life was over. I couldn't see past the pain. And now?" She trailed off, gesturing around the apartment at the photos of the twins on the walls, at the life she'd built. "Now I have this. I have hope. I have a future." Ruby squeezed her hand. "That's because you never gave up, baby. Even when it would have been easier to quit, you kept going. That's strength. That's resilience. That's who you are. I couldn't have done it without you. Without everyone. We were just the support beams. You were the foundation. Don't ever forget that." They sat together in comfortable silence, the kind that comes from years of love and shared struggle. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Jasmine watched the colors change and felt gratitude wash over her. She'd survived the hardest season of her life. She'd built something beautiful from the ashes. And her children, her beautiful, thriving, loved children, would grow up knowing that their mother never gave up. That she fought for them. That she chose hope even when hope seemed impossible. That was the legacy she'd leave them. That was enough. Epilogue, 2 years later. The twins' third birthday party was held at the community center, the same place where Jasmine's church had celebrated her 2 years earlier. The room was decorated with balloons and streamers, a table piled high with gifts, and a cake shaped like 2 trains, one for Caleb, one for Chloe. Jasmine stood near the refreshment table, watching the chaos unfold. Caleb was running around with a group of kids from daycare, his laughter filling the room. Chloe was showing off her new dress to anyone who would look, twirling in circles. Leonard stood beside Jasmine, his hand resting gently on her lower back. They'd been together for over a year now, taking things slow, building a relationship based on trust and mutual respect. The twins loved him. He'd never tried to replace their father, just to be a positive presence in their lives. And that made all the difference. Devon arrived with his mother, both of them carrying more gifts. He'd settled into his role as a father completely, attending every birthday, every holiday, every important moment. He and Jasmine had mastered the art of co-parenting. They planned together, communicated openly, and put the twins first in every decision. He'd started dating too, a woman named Angela who was a teacher and genuinely loved children. She was kind to Caleb and Chloe, never overstepping but always present. Jasmine had met her a few months ago and approved. The twins deserved to be surrounded by people who loved them. "This is a good turnout," Devon said, walking over. "It really is," Jasmine agreed. "Thank you for helping plan it." "Of course. They're my kids too." Leonard extended his hand. "Good to see you, Devon." "You too, Leonard. Thanks for being here." There was no tension, no awkwardness. Just 3 adults committed to giving 2 children the best life possible. Aunt Ruby, now moving even better after a year of physical therapy, was holding court in a corner with Devon's mother and the church ladies. They were laughing about something, probably sharing embarrassing stories about their respective family members. Reverend Grant clinked a glass, getting everyone's attention. "Can we gather around for a moment? I'd like to say a few words." Everyone moved closer, forming a circle around the twins who were still running wild. 3 years ago, Reverend Grant began, Jasmine came to me in her darkest hour. She was pregnant, alone, and scared. And I told her then what I'll tell you all now: we are not meant to walk this life alone. We are meant to carry each other, to hold each other up, to be community. He gestured to Jasmine. This sister has shown us what it means to persevere, to fight for what matters, to choose hope when everything else says give up. And look at what she's built, not just a life for herself but a whole village around these babies. That's what faith looks like. That's what love looks like. There was applause and more than a few tears. "So let's celebrate," Reverend Grant finished. "Not just Caleb and Chloe's birthday, but the journey that brought us all here. Together." "Together," everyone echoed. The twins blew out their candles with help from both parents, Devon holding Caleb, Jasmine holding Chloe. As everyone sang, "Happy Birthday," Jasmine looked around the room at all these faces, her community, her family, her village. She caught Devon's eye across the cake. He smiled, a genuine smile full of gratitude and respect. She smiled back. They'd come so far. All of them. After cake and presents, as the party was winding down, Jasmine stepped outside for a moment of quiet. The sun was setting, just like it had been that evening 2 years ago when she'd sat with Aunt Ruby, wondering if things would ever get better. They had gotten better. Not perfect, not without scars, but better. Leonard joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "You okay?" "I'm great," Jasmine said, leaning into him. "I'm really great. You should be proud of yourself. Of everything you've built." "I am. For the first time in my life, I actually am." Through the window, she could see the twins playing, Devon and his mother watching over them, Aunt Ruby laughing with friends. Her whole world contained in one room. She'd started with nothing but fear and 2 babies. And she'd built a life. A beautiful, messy, imperfect, wonderful life. Full of love. Full of hope. Full of possibility.